What's up, guys? Happy Friday, May 30th. Hope you guys having a good day. It has been somewhat rainy here. Somewhat sunny, half and half. Right now it's sunny. Rained all morning. Just enough to make the soil too soft to mow. And my poor yard needs to be mowed. Oh well. Getting our stats updated over here at the MLB Grind.com premium spreadsheet. That way all of our information is up to date. Hope you guys had a good Thursday night. Just a 4-game slate last night. I actually got smacked. I had too much faith in the Athletics and not enough faith in Jose Berrios. That son of a. So that wasn't good. Did have interest in the Rays. Blah blah blah. Basically, my weakness last night was Jose Berrios was the GOAT, and I disrespected him. And that's what I get. Hope you guys did all right, though. Had a couple calls that hit, but the ownerships on a 4-game slate are so concentrated that you almost got to be perfect if you fade the chalk and one of the chalk hits. And last night there was some chalky chalk that hit. What's up, Ricky? What up, Anthony? What Rob? What up, Chester? What up, Cujo? 100%. Dang, Ricky. I didn't go 100%, but my lineups told a story that that did not get told. I mean, Athletics they really didn't even put up a fight. It was bad. But I'll be seeing Jose Berrios again in 4 days. I don't know who they're playing. I'm gonna get my money out of him. Nah, it's all right. That's what happens, man. You take a stand. What? We were on the Blue Jays too, though. That freaking Athletics bullpen, and then Jacob Lopez. Like I said, no two stats of his lined up. Like nothing made sense. So it wasn't a crazy output there. Literally, the only thing that held me back was my lack of Berrios exposure. I was way over the field at Athletics, but Berrios, yeah. All right, we have most of the stats we need updated. I think all of the stats, actually. Enrique. All right, let's go change Kike so it looks right. Kiki, do you love me? We got a whole lot of games tonight. Two of them looking so good. Yeah, I'll do it again. I'll freaking do it again. I'm not too... In baseball, man, gotta brush it off. Got 162 games. There are more slates to keep it going. All right, so tonight, is everyone cool skipping this Orioles game? Looks like it's not on any slate, and we got a lot of games. I actually didn't even put it in the spreadsheet, but I can. But I can't imagine, like, there's not a slate for it. So unless you guys are trying to prop bet it, I think there's some weather too. Let's get all our tabs ready. We got baseball, Savant, Fangraphs. What are we doing? What are we managing 100 lineups tonight? But there's not enough. So one of these streams I want to do my whole make my lineups. I don't know if today's the day because no lineups are out. It's gonna be a lot of work. All right. Weather, Savant, Fangraphs, spreadsheet. Oh, we need our sports book. Picture props. I guess we could open up PrizePicks. What up, Jay? It's a mistake to fade Freed tonight. The toughest matchup he'll have all year. It's gonna answer a lot of Yankee fan questions, that's for sure. I guess in a sentence like that, I would ask what the context is. How many lineups? How big is the contest? Blah blah blah. Can't imagine Freed's. I don't know. Freed's obviously one of the best pitchers in the world, but a lot of people get a little spooked pitching against the Dodgers. Rightfully so. Let's see, Freed's not getting that much ownership, so you won't be alone in that fade. But if you wanted to play him, you don't have to get a ton of them to be over the field, leverage the field, you know. What up, Jay? I think I already said that. I'm old. All right, chat. Let's do some work. Game number 1, White Sox and the Orioles. That is not happening, right? I think I just talked about skipping this game. And did I do it? No. So based on DraftKings, due to a schedule change, the White Sox will not include in this set. Players from this team will not accrue fantasy points. So we don't really need to talk about it, right? No one needs this game. We delete it. Psst. Daisy, leave her alone. Hey, psst. Stop it. F it. I'll leave it in here. We'll just, some of you guys might need it. We'll go early. White Sox and the Orioles. Confirm lineups. When it rains a lot, the dog gotta be inside more. And my dog has this infatuation with the cat. And the cat, she's just a laid back cat, man. She just wants to sit in the window watching the world. And the dog just like won't leave her alone. It's not aggressive or nothing. But she's just like, hey buddy. And the dog's like, go die. Please go die. Please go and die. Eflin versus Schuster, our pitching matchup. The 3.8 run total for the White Sox, 5.5 for the Orioles. Obviously, you lean the Orioles here. Schuster. I have Burke. Is that It really doesn't matter, huh? Is that an opener versus? Yeah, it's an opener situation. All right. Orioles should do fine. Zach Eflin in that particular spot, not a big strikeout guy. White Sox can give you some strikeouts, although this version of the White Sox team, not as strikeout prone as you might guess pre-flop. And it's because there's a couple names here that are pretty new for White Sox stake. But Mydroff rocking 11% K rate. Talkman sub 20, Benintendi 17%, sub 20 on Palacios, Cuero 14%. Now they're not supplementing that with like a big average or a big ISO, but they're almost moneyballing their way into on base percentage with a lot of walk rates here. But Eflin, he's a strike thrower, so Eflin should survive. I'm glad this game isn't on the main slate. The White Sox can't hurt me no more, and we'll change the time on that. And that's all I gotta say about that. Any prize picks I'm on? I haven't. I mean, we just opened the pool for swimming, so we'll go game by game, see if anything like sticks out while we're analyzing it. All right, main slate kicks off 7:07 p.m. Eastern. We got the Athletics and the Blue Jays. Athletics didn't do great yesterday. They got a 4-run total today. Blue Jays 5.3 run total. Jeffrey Springs taking on Chris Bassett. Springs coming into this game with a sub 19% K rate, 1.22 on the whip, 3.8 expected ERA, and a 4.72 Sierra. His righty splits is something I do want to focus on, as the Blue Jays likely throw out just one lefty in this matchup. A sub 20% K rate, a 4.6 xFIP, a 1.52 home run per nine, very low ground ball rate, very high fly ball rate, combined with line drive and hard contact rate. Is a good spot for a lot of Blue Jays, and even some Blue Jays we didn't expect power from yesterday. We got some power from yesterday, like Bo Bichette, but Vladdy, Santander, George Springer, Alejandro Kirk, all those guys, even Ernie Clement, who went crazy yesterday. Those guys in the lineup today should profile extremely well. Don't forget, backing up Jeffrey Springs is one of the worst bullpens in baseball, man. The Athletics, the Angels, the D-back, like these are teams in bullpens that win tournaments. I always say starters win cash games, bullpens win tournaments, and this Athletics bullpen has been winning tournaments. You did not do that. That's just not something you just did. Whew. Yesterday, we saw Sean Newcomb, Anthony Maldonado, Hogan Harris come out the bullpen for the Athletics. They have Mason Miller is the only good piece that they do offer. Everybody else in this bullpen, very beatable, very gettable. And if they can get through Jeffrey Springs, we should get some quality innings of at-bats for from the bullpen as well. So interest ranking here, I think we're going to go Blue Jays 1. And then Chris Bassett against this Athletics offense. I think what we have seen, and we saw it yesterday, is a dangerous offense, but it's a pretty Jekyll and Hyde offense. But part of that is the ability to strike out. And Chris Bassett has been pretty good, more so good than bad this season. A 3.4 expected ERA, 24% K rate, 10% swinging strike rate, and the barrel rate's been pretty consistent. So there is some strikeout potential here, and there's a guy that has decent enough run prevention and the ability to go long enough that I would probably put him number 2. I can't wait for him to implode while, Barrios did what he did. And I still like the thought of the Athletics. We talked about some of these young guns yesterday. Don't see some of the ones that we specifically highlighted yesterday in today's version of the lineup, but we know Lawrence Butler, Jacob Wilson, Brent Rooker, Soderstrom, all guys that can swing a mean stick, and Shea Langoliers flip him around. Not too shabby himself. Did I have a different K rate on him yesterday? No. All right, Bassett, Blue Jays. I'm not gonna write Athletics just yet. Let's go pitcher projections, and let's start with this Springs. Let's go 19%. Bassett, let's go 10%. walk rate. Seven. And 4.5. Let's go check out what the outs line is for these guys. And we will formulate a projection, or this website's broken. There it is. 18 and 17 and a half. Spring's getting some love. So we'll go 17 and a half, 18. I'll give Bassett 2 towards a QS, a little win implication in there. And that's how we run that one out. With that, it gives me a projection of 4.6 Ks for Bassett, even on 18 outs. So the Fanduel points 25.8. Man, that feels kind of light, but I don't know why my stuff is going so slow all of a sudden. Jesus. Let me see something. No? Is it just these websites loading slow? My internet seems fine. This is just a slow day for websites. I don't know. That's it. I'm at 32 and a half. It's a little higher than the initial projections put out, but I'm not against it. All right, Blue Jays Bassett, the 1 and 2. Let's move on to the Rockies game. We do have a Rockies lineup, and it's looking like Jordan Beck, Ezekiel Tovar, Hunter Goodman, Tyro Estrada, Brenton Doyle, Ryan McMahon, Kyle Farmer, Michael Toglia, Tyler Freeman. Pitching matchup here, Cal Freeland taking on David Peterson, 2 southpaws. Double check on Mr. Ross' weather report. We got anything heel. A few showers around, but they'll want to play through that as best as possible so that they can play ball before the main line of storms move in. What? Oh, okay, so I guess there's bigger showers coming later, so they'll have to suck it up. All right. 2.7 run total for the Rockies. Yikes. Mets have a 5. This version of the Rockies lineup, pretty weak. The Brenton Doyle, Kyle Farmer, the only guys with over 100 WRC plus. The rest of this lineup is pretty putrid. Are some bright spots in ISO, but David Peterson, not really a big home run guy, a big ground ball guy. And matter of fact, 53% ground ball rate to righties, 73% ground ball rate to lefties. Only one lefty there, so we can kind of key in on his righty splits. And he does lose a lot of strikeout stuff to righties in that split versus lefties. But man, Rockies just don't feel like that normal team to overweight that. But it is very notable to lose 10% of strikeout stuff. So maybe tapered expectations, but you still are interested in Peterson as one of the largest implied win guys on the slate, going against guys like Jordan Beck with almost 40% K rate. So you might still win. Maybe you don't get the strikeout per inning just baked in, but it is a matchup that you could see him going deep enough, long enough. Inversely, Kyle Freeland, a 17% K rate for him. He's been pretty good at limiting long ball damage, but still pretty beatable, all things considered. Almost a 4x FIP to righties, a 360 average allowed to righties, and a 24% line drive rate. So a guy like Pete Alonso, Starling Marte, even Frankie Lindor, all kind of project pretty doggone well. You gotta also appreciate the fact that the Mets get into this Rockies bullpen maybe even quicker if they can hit for a decent average and kick Freeland out of the game. So I think we go Mets, David Peterson, and you could make a case that Peterson's over the Mets. If his splits were like reversed here, I'd be all for it, but I still don't think he's gonna implode here. Remember, there is a little bit of weather, nothing crazy. Well, yellow in solidarity. Let's see, Kevin Roth indicates this game might play through light rain. Yeah, okay. Let's go put a projection here. 17% strikeout rate for Freeland, 22% for David Peterson. Let's go walk rate, 4.5%. And Peterson against righties, almost, yeah, we'll give him that 9%. Let's see what our outs, 18 and 17. A little bit towards the QS, and we're good. Next game on the docket, it's gonna be the Giants and the Marlins. Kyle Harrison taking on Cal Quantrill. Giants got a 4.9 run total. Marlins 3.8. Make sure Harrison is a stretched out starter. 4 innings, 57 pitches, so not quite. After getting called up from AAA Sacramento on May 4th, Harrison initially worked out of the bullpen, but he moved into the rotation last week following Justin Verlander's pectoral placement on the IL. Harrison took a loss to the Nationals in his first start with the Giants last Saturday, giving up 2 runs in 4 innings while striking out 4 batters. Lefty should have a longer leash in his second start after tossing just 57 pitches against Washington. But it may not be guaranteed any turns through the rotation beyond Friday. Verlander threw a 40-pitch bullpen session Tuesday and could be ready to return from the IL. All right, so weird situation. 57 pitches. I would probably cap him at 70, but he is somebody who can start, I guess. And he's facing a Marlins team. That's a weird situation. Kyle Harrison, MLB. They say we would want to take our 30% K rate chances against the Marlins, right? But if he's not stretched out, he's not stretched out. And you look at some of these, 5 innings on April 30th. 6 innings on April 24th. And again, this might be the last they see of him, so I don't know. 7,100. Obviously, I think if we get to putting some makeup on, getting a little cute, and playing some Kyle Harrison, it would probably be a DraftKings only play. It's hard to bank on that 6 innings with the variables of his pitch count. Let that sit for a second. Cal Quantrill, 1.5 on the whip, 16% K rate, 6.09 ERA. The expected ERA 5.25, 4.71 Sierra. Just very, very beatable stuff. Unfortunately, we've been on the wrong side of Quantrill a few times this season, but you gotta kind of trust the process. He's not good. Hasn't allowed a homer in 2 straight games. But I think this is all like luck and happenstance, right? Like, he's not a strikeout guy. If he's getting outs, it's just balls finding gloves. This season against lefties, keeping him down to a 200 average, again, feels a little bit more like luck than anything, but really getting roasted by righties. This Giants lineup, when it comes to the right side, we've seen Wilmer Flores kind of surge lately. Elliot Ramos is somebody I wouldn't mind clicking on. And then a guy like Matt Chapman, if you can neutralize his 25% K rate, you can dip into that 200 plus ISO. It's a fun spot to get to them. The Marlins bullpen also pretty beatable. It is not a super friendly hitter's park, but it is somewhat of a park upgrade versus the Giants' home park, right? So you can get behind that. Unfortunately, it's a better power environment for lefties than righties, but it's still, I'll attack bad pitching as much as possible. I can't imagine the roof would be open, but I'll always double check. There's a couple stadiums I'll always look. No, it says roof is going to be closed. So I'm going to go Giants in the single game ranking. I'm loosely interested in Harrison for DraftKings. And then looking at Harrison's weaknesses, and I know we only have 9 innings of major league sample size. So one thing, we could probably neutralize that K rate to like what we've seen last year, which is 22%. But we could also maybe lean back into the power allowed. There are some bats I can get behind for some big swings, like Agustin Ramirez. But I don't need to list that, I guess. That'll just fall where it falls. The more I'm looking at this K rate versus last year, the more I'm like not likely to get to Harrison. Because even in the 9 innings, his expected ERA is like right where it was last year. I think we might be looking to capture lightning in a bottle on a limited pitch count. But against a team like the Marlins, it's like so possible. I'll let that simmer. Let's go put a projection here. Harrison, I'm gonna give him a 22% K rate. Quantrill, I'm gonna give him a 16. Harrison walk rate. Let's go 8.5. Quantrill, 8.5. Guess we're not getting a line for either of these pitchers, so we gotta make one up. So with Harrison, since he went 4 innings, I'll put him at about 14.5. And then for Quantrill, god dang, I'll put 16.5, but that's probably too high. Actually, let's do 15. What's up, Heath? What up, king of all trades? Hope you're doing all right. Move on to the Red Sox game. Actually, we get a Blue Jays lineup. Get that punched in. I don't think it's different. Bobichette, Vladdy, George Springer batting third. Then Alejandro Kirk. Then Dalton Varsho. Ernie Clement gets a lineup boost. Addison Barger, Miles Straw, and Nathan Lukes. So a little different lineup. I like it. More beef moved up. We lost Santander though, and that's not nothing, but this season hasn't been fantastic for him. But when it comes to athletics pitching, we don't care. But the nice little lane here of enough puncher's chance, yeah. I wonder if yesterday kind of rings the bell on the Blue Jays from a DFS player standpoint. Sometimes people chase points. All right, Red Sox. Red Sox and Braves. We got a 4.3 run total for the Red Sox. For the Braves, we got a 5.4. Lucas Giolito towing the slab up against Grant Holmes. Giolito, a 20% K rate this season. 143 on the whip, has allowed so much power. No one man should allow that much power. A 300 plus average allowed to righties as well. Good spot for the Braves. to get into some some better pitches than maybe they were offered yesterday. Although yesterday against the elite arm like Zach Wheeler, they were doing just fine. We saw Ozzie Albies swing a big stick, and that was actually something that was sniffed out in the bond detector. He was like top 5, and I was like, that's a weird name, but okay. And he did his thing. So Giolito, somebody that is beatable, and this Braves team looking to string together some momentum, some wins in the return of Acuna to make it a little bit more of a fight down the stretch in the NL East. Grant Holmes on the bump for the Braves, 23% K rate for him, 1.16 on the whip. He's also allowing some power, especially to righties, but kind of a you'll take it amount, right? Like a 23.5% K rate, 200 average allowed, decent enough ground ball rate, and he's surviving. The xFIP a little over 4, right? That's not like insane for not your 1, 2, 3 starter. So you'd take it as a fan, but from a DFS perspective, this is where I'd be like, yo, I want Alex Bregman. And then you'd be like, yo, Alex Bregman is hurt. And they're like, yo, who's the other power righty on the Red Sox? And you're like, I'll get back to you. His weakness might be safe in this spot. I mean, I guess Christian Campbell, Carlos Narvaez, they could get into that, but it's not like that's what they are known for, right? A little bit more hit for average on Narvaez and Campbell, yeah, but I think for the most part, this could be a fun spot for those of you who like to walk the tightrope. And 8,200 for Grant Holmes against a Red Sox team that strikes out more than the perception, right? 24% aggregate K rate since the beginning of last year for this lineup against righties, and it's mainly because they're missing a lot of key players, and some of the players that they do have that they usually don't have, like Trevor Story, it's just not been it since the beginning of last year. The sample size we have of him, almost a 30% K rate at 68 WRC plus, and we've seen him push all the way down to the bottom of the lineup. And if it wasn't for a contract, he may not be somebody filling a hole right now. So Grant Holmes might be a sneaky click if he can navigate through some of these lefties, keep them in the park. I don't think that's an insane SP2 stocking stuffer, right? So I do want to pick on Giolito. So we're going to go Braves. Neither bullpen has been atrocious. So we're kind of betting on talent on the second half. But, man, Acuna looks like he hasn't missed much. And this profile is extremely well from him. Even though Giolito does have a 50% ground ball rate, he also has a pretty high hard contact rate, pretty high barrel rate, a high walk rate. So a lot to pick on there. And it's pretty even, right? He's an equal opportunity destroyer when it comes to getting pitches destroyed. So we can get to Drake Baldwin, Ozuna, Matt Olson. It becomes a really fun, flatter, longer lineup. And I think they're going to be fun to stack more often down the stretch. No Giolito for me. I think Red Sox is always like sub-stackable with Duran, Devers, Narvaez, Campbell, one of those combos. But Duran and Devers is like the feature. Narvaez and I guess Abreu. But like I said, Grant Holmes, he can allow some power to lefties, but it's not a ton, and it's not a super consistent OBP allowed. Maybe an elevated walk rate can haunt him, but I'm in on the Braves. I think a Red Sox substack could work, and then I'll say Holmes, DK, SB2, right? Yeah, I think I'm cool with that. Giolito, let's go 20% K rate for his projection. Let's go 8.5 on his walk rate. Grant Holmes, 23. Let's go 10.5. 17.5. Oh, and that's all I got to say about that. Zion stuff is wild. What the heck did I miss? I'm gonna go to Twitter real quick. Zion. Oh. hope that's not true. What up, Andy? Your bullpen stats are A1, dude. I think I saw like it obviously didn't, but like we've been pretty good at predicting who's coming out. I think we talked about Jose Urena yesterday, although he didn't really get shelled. But half of these games are pretty much unknown as far as pitching matchup. So to be able to clear the blurry lines a little bit helps a lot. And yeah, attacking bullpens has definitely been a fruitful venture for me in my career as a DFS player. So now that we have a decent enough of sample size to kind of know, yeah, it's definitely part of the process. And sometimes you got a elite pitcher with a average bullpen or plus, you just you cut the game in half and don't even worry about it. But in this case, I think both bullpens are like fine, not elite, not terrible. And usually that means that they have some lopsided talent, meaning we go look at Boston or Atlanta, like usually the closers and the setup guys are elite, but some of the relievers suck, right? And in this case, you got Aroldis Chapman, Justin Slayton. Both those guys obviously had yesterday off. They did come off 2 games in a row pitching. So I don't know if Cora if our game script is that the Braves are ahead anyway, they probably get today off anyway. But maybe like a Garrett Whitlock, who used to be good and he's still kind of fine. I guess what we would be looking for is some righty power allowed. They don't really have that, but they do have some high righty xFIP and some lefty power allowed. So for like a Matt Olson, if we saw like a Greg Weissert, Liam Hendricks type, but at that point we are guessing. It's a little bit clearer for teams that have pitched or teams that have played 5 days in a row. A lot of teams had days off yesterday, and that allows you to kind of reset the bullpen. So we'll see. Let's move on. Cardinals and the Rangers. Yo, am I tripping or did I not type up the Guardians? I did not. Don't let me forget. As far as just do it. We'll do it right now. I guess when I typed up these games, I didn't type the Guardians and Angels. Let me just knock that out. If you are a MLB Grind subscriber, you're looking for this game, it's at the bottom of the index portal. All the other stuff will show up normally, the stack rankings, the pitcher projections, the bomb detector. But it would be a little non-sequential on the index portal. Quincy Ocho. All right, Angels and the Guardians. Angels have a 4-point run total. Guardians 4.7. Jose Soriano taking on Luis L. Ortiz. What is going on with his pricing? Luis Ortiz. Is this going to mess up if I take this L out? Probably, because all those other stats. All right. All right, so we're gonna have to do something. There's not like a hitter that I don't know about named Ortiz, right? Here we go. $6,000. What? That's right. Hold on. What? Okay. Yeah, sure. So Jose Soriano, 17% K rate on the season, 1.53 whip, 4.12 expected ERA. Ortiz, a 25% K rate, almost a 13% swinging strike rate. Does have some lefty issues. High home run per 9 allowed for the last 3 years against lefties. A extremely high walk rate against lefties. But man, that 1-4 strikeout rate could certainly play against the Angels and their aggregate 1-4 strikeout rate. Only Shanuel and Rengifo are not striking out at a above average clip. And then we look at his weakness, which is lefties, right? You look at his righty stuff, over a 50% ground ball rate to righties with a 25% K rate. If that can neutralize most of this offense, I'm interested. You do get the return of Michael Nelson, which is going to make this team a little bit more fun, I guess. And it's going to be the ultimate tournament team day by day, I think. But I'm kind of interested in that points per dollar opportunity. The Angels bullpen is atrocious. The starter is attackable. You kind of wish you had a better team than the Guardians to kind of take advantage of that. But just Stephen Kwan and Jose Ramirez have above average WRC pluses in this split since the beginning of last year. So unfortunate, but sometimes bad pitching loses to bad hitting. But I'll stay away from this 60% ground ball rate to both sides of the plate. Not enough power allowed, in my opinion, to kind of want to stretch out on a big Friday night slate. So I'm gonna go Ortiz. And I'm gonna say Angels substack. And maybe even Angels stack, just because they're just gonna be that tournament team for the rest of the year, for the pitcher and the offense. Like a ton of ISO, a ton of strikeout. You know what I mean? Some days they're gonna have it, some days they don't. Some days the other pitcher's gonna have it, some days they won't. But man, is that gonna be fun. You get Neto, Trout, Taylor Ward. Like, that's gonna be a fun combo group down the stretch. Oh, Hoppy. But I really rather it be against a guy that lines up with the power allowed. You know what I mean? And that's not been Ortiz's game for years. Like, he's been able to suppress righty power for a while. So maybe it's not here. Maybe it's not here. Let's go put a strikeout rate here for Soriano. Let's go 17%. For Ortiz, let's go 25%. Walk rate 11. Ortiz. Oh man, I hit the soundboard. Sorry. Everyone just checked their smoke detectors. My bad. My bad. Yeah. Outs. 16 and a half. 16 and a half. All right. All right. Let's go Cardinals and the Rangers. So I've seen some people report that the roof might be open in Arlington, but I don't see an official statement yet. I don't say statement, like it's a press conference. But if the roof is open, it certainly changes a decent amount, as it's been a little bit hotter. It's actually not that hot today, but it opens up the park a little bit more. And then the Cardinals are a team that I do like getting them in decent to plus opportunities for them to extrapolate power that we don't always see in Busch, right? 4.6 run total for the Cardinals. Rangers are at 4.1. We got Matthew Liberatore taking on Jack Leiter. Liberatore, 21.5% carry rate this season. Almost a 3 expected ERA. 11% swing and strike rate. Been really, really good at suppressing power, especially against righties this year versus his woes last season. When I see a drop off like that, I usually look for an explanation, meaning, all right, he's got this much more ground ball rate, this much less hard contact rate, the barrel rates drop, something like that. But we really don't see that. So either he was just really unlucky last season, or a little on the lucky side this season. Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. We've also seen him really, really turn down the walk rate to righties as well. So something to keep an eye on. This Rangers team has just been pretty anemic offensively throughout the season. Against lefties, we've got just one guy with a WRC plus really worth celebrating, and that's Wyatt Langford. So probably be hard pressed to get excited about a full stack of the Rangers, but if you cherry pick a couple of guys like Wyatt Langford, Corey Seager, maybe a Jake Berger, something like that. Higgy, his isolated stats this year, obviously they've been putting him in the right spots, but have been fine, and we know historically hits lefties for good power. But this is not a lefty we typically want to attack for an onslaught of power. Obviously he can leak one, but yeah. Jack Leiter on the bump for the Rangers, a 17% K rate, $1.25 on the whip, which looks better than the 1.71 last year in 35 innings. The 4.87 expected ERA, and a lot of power allowed to lefties. Now, this 194 average to lefties is kind of funny considering everything else is pretty red. A 5.31 expected xFIP, 15% K rate, 1.5 home run per 9, almost a 12% walk rate. I would imagine that the average allowed is pretty lucky. Like the BABIP is probably just insane. Let's go look at his advanced stats. Let's go look at BABIP. Actually, we want to go splits, right? BABIP to lefties is 192, so with the 5.31 xFIP, expecting that to not shoo me away. And the reason I'm focused on these lefty splits is I really like a lot of these Cardinals lefties, especially Lars Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan, and even some Alec Burleson. Like these three guys, when they get an opportunity to hit in a better park against hittable pitching, oftentimes they actually appear valuable in the ball detector from a betting standpoint. If we look at today's value chart, how high are some of these St. Louis bets? Actually, let me just Control F St. Louis. I think they might be priced appropriately today. Burleson, a little bit of value, buck 125. Ivan Herrera, some plus spots. And then I got nothing on Donovan's price from Fanduel. So maybe we can look at it on DraftKings. $500. $500 and the spreadsheet's price was $548. All right, so the pricing isn't as obscene as we saw, I think, in that Citizens Bank series. I think was it Citizens Bank or Great American? Let me see. Maybe it was just Baltimore. It was Baltimore. So I'm in on the Cardinals. Let's go Cardinals. Liberatore. I'm not gonna say no. There's plenty of strikeouts to be had in this Rangers lineup. And Liberatore, if he keeps him in the park, it's been offense not scoring at a high clip anyway, so I'm gonna go Liberatore. And he's been really good at suppressing lefties, so Corey Seager, as good as he is, we can kind of offset that, right? And I don't think I have to type Rangers, so I won't. What's up, Power? Hope you've been all right. All right, Tigers and the Royals. Tigers 4.5 run total. Royals 4.2. We do have a Royals lineup. Jonathan India, Bobby Witt, Vinny Pasquantino, Salvi, Garcia, Waters, Rave, Massey, Isbell as projected. Casey Mize taking on Seth Lugo. Mize a 21.8% K rate this season, 2.63 on the expected ERA. Looks like a pretty drastic split situation happening this year. 29% K rate. He found 10% K rate year over year, last year to this year against lefties. But his righty stuff is pretty much the same, maybe even a little bit more power. Some of that stuff can be hidden in this park. Royals not a super power hitting team, not a park that you are targeting for power anyway. So you kind of just be betting on some talent, some spots here. And I think Bobby Witt, Pasquantino, Salvi, guys like that, I'm not going to get super excited about a full stack on really either side. I am somewhat interested in getting to pitching here. And I don't think I can get super comfortable about it either, though. A 21.8% K rate for Mize faces an 18.2% aggregate K rate out of this Royals lineup against righties since the beginning of last year. And then Seth Lugo has lost his K rate year over year. The regression is real, 23 to a 21 to 18.9. He's facing a Tigers team that will strike out, but his swing and strike rate is dipped below 8%. I mean, that's Bartolo Colon, you know what I mean? That's getting down there. So while he might be a good real pitcher, good inning eater, what kind of DFS upside can we get out of him? I guess we would need a game like this Astros game, 8-8. And I guess that is a range outcome, but it seems like the more likely output, 15 fantasy points, right? He hasn't pitched since the 11th with a finger injury, so a little bit of unknown when it comes to that. So I think we just throw a projection in there and see what happens. So we didn't do a projection for the previous game. So 21.5% for Liberatore. Walker, let's go 7. Lighter, 17.4. Mize. Lugo, 19. I'll go 6.5%. Let's get some outs. Okay, Ron, we get it. You're a guy. $17.5, $15.5. I'm giving 2 towards the QAS. Mize, 17.5. 16.5. Really not much to see there from out perspective, huh? All right, let's Machook lay down. Rays and the Astros. Pepiot taking on Framber. A 3.5 run total. By the way, you know, yesterday me and Terry talked about Chandler Simpson batting 6th. And we were like, this is stupid. And I mean, you couldn't have scripted it a more Chandler Simpson run scored. Man stole second, then third, and then scores on a wild pitch. And then today, he gets optioned to AAA. The dude has been just fine up here. And that is the business part of baseball, where it's an obvious service time manipulation call, right? Like, what are we doing? So you take out a lot of base running value from the Rays team day to day. And I don't understand that call at all. But he is in the projected, which is going to have to change. So we're going to go Jake Mangum. And I would want him in the lineup against a contact ground ball pitcher to try and run one out. So Rays are a team that's normally celebrated for their analytical prowess. But today they deserve a little bit of, I don't know, disdain for that decision, in my opinion. Matchup wise here, so we can go split intense here for Ryan Pepiot. He doesn't strike out righties as much as he did last year, and he certainly ain't striking them out as much as he is lefties. So with one lefty in the lineup, unless he can tap back into what he was doing last season, this may not be that great split spot for him. But let's see if we can explain what's going on there. So, against righties, last season, we were pushing a 30% whiff with the four-seamer, a 33.6% whiff with the slider. This season, we got a 15% and 22.6%. So, we are not as effective with those pitches against righties as we were last year. The velocity is about the same. The expected batting average is not about the same. The expected slug, not the same. It's both worse this season. 2392, 2376. I need Jake. I don't have an answer. I ain't got the answer, Sway. Cutter. Those pitches are just not as effective this year, and I don't see like a stark reason why. Maybe, I guess maybe it just comes down to movement. But everything looks pretty linear year over year. I gotta be missing something super obvious here. Arm slot? Small change. I don't know. Whatever it is, he has not been as effective at successfully converting strikeouts against righties, and that's a problem. And this is not like a big strikeout team anyway. So sometimes I like to tap into these extreme splits against an extremely righty-heavy lineup. But it doesn't look like we're going to get that opportunity today. And then inversely, Framber Valdez, really, really good. So I don't want to pick on him. And the tools that I would want to pick on him with are no longer in the major leagues. Valdez really he's a negative launch angle pitcher. Can go deep. So I'm going to get into some Valdez. And that's probably it for me here. Go run a projection. Pepiot. Actually, I'm gonna give him an 18% carry rate. I don't want to over project him. 23% for Valdez. Let's go 7. Framber. 8. Outs. 18. 17 and a half. Pirates in the Padres. Mitch Keller taking on Nick Pivetta. Guys, there's got to be a study done. I need somebody to look this up. I swear Mitch Keller and Merrill Kelly have pitched on the same day for like 10 years now. And anytime I see one name, I always look for the other. And it's there. This is it's a thing that doesn't matter that bugs me. Mitch Keller, 20% K rate, 8.2% swinging strike rate, 4.1 expected ERA. Pivetta, 28% K rate. Just really, really good. I think this is certainly where we're going to get one of our higher owned brand name pitchers of the slate in Nick Pivetta against this Pirates offense that strikes out 23% aggregate against righties since the beginning of last year, and it's very top heavy on the strikeouts. So if you're into first inning nerfies or first 5 strikeouts, something like that, you can certainly see him striking out the side to start things off. But it is also where your ISO is at as well. McCutcheon make you work for it with a 12.4% walk rate, but it's a good spot for Nick Pivetta. And Pavetta's not immune to the long ball. 1.3 home run per 9 to righties this season. Last year and the year prior, more allowed to lefties. So O'Neal Cruz, it's still there for him. You just got to raise that hard contact up. So without a doubt, Nick Pivetta is our strongest piece of interest in this game, and probably our number 1 pitcher so far on the slate in terms of interest. Mitch Keller, not somebody you want to go pick on, and typically not somebody that's going to extrapolate a tournament winning upside on a 13-game slate. Padres just a 17% K rate as a unit, and the Pirates bullpen beatable as well. So if the Padres can get through to a contact pitcher and get into that bullpen, maybe there's some quality fun to be had. But with Mitch Keller, I want to attack him more with lefties and righties, right? Against righties who can keep the ball on the ground at a 47% clip. The hard contact rate's pretty low. Walk rate's pretty low. He hasn't allowed a homer to a righty yet this season, and that's just not been part of his game. So the best bats on the Padres that are righty, Tatis, Machado, you can kind of get away with that. But with that said, Jackson Merrill, Gavin Sheets have both been just fine this year in spots like this, so they might be fun middle of the order bats to click, and maybe you get a Crone zone, Jake Cronenworth big swing to attack the average and home run allowed for Mitch Keller. So maybe we substack the lefties as a fun play on the big slate, but definitely Nick Pivetta. And that's how we shake that out. Let's go run a projection here. Let's go 20%. And let's go 28%. Walk rate. Let's go 6%. Nick Pivetta. Let's go 8%. Let's go get our outs. Let's go 18. 18 outs for Mitch Keller, really? Interesting. Might give them both 18, to be honest. Nats and the D-backs. Next up, Jake Irvin taking on Merrill Kelly. Nationals at 3.7 run total. Diamondbacks 5.5. I think this game's going to be more fun. Based on this website, roof should be closed. This probably means the roof's going to be closed the rest of the year, but we'll always check it. Jake Irvin, a 17% K rate for him. Really, really weak against lefties. A 1.6 plus aggregate home run per 9 allowed, 3 years rolling. So Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Josh Naylor, Pavin Smith, all guys that can take advantage of that. And then backing him up is one of the league's worst bullpens. So this would be a fun game pre-flop for the D-backs to get into some action. He does have a 51% ground ball rate to righties, so that might suppress a guy like Gurriel and Eugenio Suarez. But if the game script here is to get rid of him early, I wouldn't leave those guys out of my stacks for late game shenanigans. We go look at the Washington bullpen. Yesterday they went to Finnegan, Jorge Lopez, Ferrer, and Cole Henry. So today we'll likely see Jackson Rutledge, and Andrew Chafin. I feel like both of those guys were D-backs at one point. I definitely think Chafin was. Let me double check. Just the way my brain works. No, not Rutledge, but Chafin. Yeah, Chafin was a D-back for quite a while. It looks like the team might have drafted him. And Brad Lord, the Lord. So what we might see is probably at least. This looks like a Chafin Rutledge game. Rutledge has been not good. Almost a 6x flip to lefties, not striking him out. Not really giving up power either. It looks like he is a lefty specialist. And then Chafin, he's been all right. All right. So let's go D-backs. And then Merrill Kelly has been solid. He's a lot like Mitch Keller. Strike you out 1-5, eat some innings. And so far this season been pretty solid at keeping the ball in the park to both sides of the plate. But backing him up is an exploitable defense as well. So I have some interest in just betting on talent with this Nats team. And, maybe dipping into that D-backs bullpen. But I think the more likely outcome is just 5-6 innings of not die baseball for Merrill Kelly. And the D-backs look like they win the seesaw, right? So let's go project that out. Let's go 17% on Irvin. Merrill Kelly will go 22%. 8.5 on the walk rate. Merrill Kelly 6.5. Let's go get some outs. 18 for Kelly. Man, we got a lot of high out totals today. Kelly projects as a better Fanduel play, I would imagine. All right, let's move on to the Mariners and Twins. Zebby Matthews taking on Brian. Woo! Twins have a 3.3 run total. Mariners 3.9. I'll tell you what, for a 13-game slate, there's not a ton of high-scoring games here. No Great American, no Citizens Bank. Is that the one missing? No Coors. Roofs closed in some spots. So kind of a scrappier big slate. But we haven't also had like aces that we're in love with yet. So I don't know. Could go any which way. Zebby Matthews, a 40% K rate kind of leads me to believe he's either an opener or lucky. 4 innings. Ooh, so we went 81 pitches, but only 4 innings last time out. But Casey's kind of a tougher spot. Zebby Matthews, huh? Zebby Matthews. Mariners are better version of the Angels when it comes to strikeout or homer. .2 innings in the minors this year, 38 Ks, $1.20 on the whip, sub 2 ERA, career 238 innings, 270 Ks, sub 1 whip. Throws gas. 5 pitches. 47% whiff on that slider. It looks like he has a pretty hard to hit slider. How do the Seattle Mariners grade out against the slider? Cal Raleigh, Randy Arozarena, only two players with worth mentioning grades against the slider since beginning of last year. Interesting. Do we get to Zebby Matthews? There's plenty of strikeout potential here. The 80 pitches is encouraging. Like, we could push that to 90. You just got to be more efficient with it, right? 5 hits allowed. And KC's not a big strikeout team. And he got 9 strikeouts. I think we do play some Zebby. Zebby. But we also definitely play some Brian Wu. So let's rank him first out of respect. Let me go Zebby Matthews. With 2 T's. 2 T's. And I mean, that's a lot of respect too. The Mariners are getting a sub-4 run total against a kid with 7 innings this season. Last year, 24% K rate. So that's probably like where we should land, is giving him like a 25% K rate. This version of the this version of the Mariners lineup, pretty half and half. And a lot of strikeouts. Man, this Zebby Matthews, dude. It's got me feeling some type of way right now. Hold up. Zebby. What's this K? They got him at 5.5 Ks too. Like, I think these are anomalic numbers. Like, I don't think he's a 40% K rate guy, especially when the swinging strike rate was the same as last year. But certainly 1 in 4 is not astronomically priced. So let's just do it. Let's just put 25% K rate on him for Wu. We'll do 24. Should we do 24 on him? Let's give him what he had last year. 24 is still like really good. So we'll just do 24. Walk rate. I'll be a little bit more flatter with the 8. Woo. Let's go 3.5. Go get some outs. Outs would be important for him. 14.5. So the can we go 5 is important. So let's do 18. And on 14.5 outs, I still get 5.37 strikeouts. So he's definitely playable. It certainly seems like it's going to be a DK. Like 6 innings might be best case scenario. But I'm in. I'm certainly in. All right, main event tonight. And let's take a pause for the cause. We got to do some lineup updating after this anyway. But if you guys have been lurking, we're updating the MLBgrind.com premium spreadsheet, updating the pitcher projections, stack ratings, all that good stuff, the bomb detector, all that is going to be responsive to the work we're doing on stream right now, between inputting run totals, the hand-breaded chicken tenders, pitcher projections. If you guys want access to what we do every day, even when I'm not streaming, the spreadsheet is there at your fingertips. You can do so by going to MLBgrind.com, clicking premium memberships, getting yourself signed up, and that'll unlock the link to a spreadsheet, link to the Discord, and you can use this to research games every day, pretty fast, pretty expeditiously. It's a pretty powerful thing. I have created it over the course of the last 10 years to use feature stats that I like the most for my research, and then also present it in a manner that's easy to consume, easy to understand, and color coded. Green means good, bad means bad, or red means bad. So you guys that are not sabermetric scholars, but you do like baseball and you're trying to learn a little bit more, I think this is a good way to get your feet wet and have these stats readily available to you every day, and just be able to grind it out and even the playing field as much as possible. So you can check it out, MLBgrind.com. There's a week pass, month pass, and rest of the season pass. And if you got any questions, twitter.com/Gundacker or DM me, tag me on Discord. I'm here. Main event tonight, a rematch of the 2024 World Series. I don't remember who won that one. I just remember it was a good, everyone had fun World Series. And then we were just there to have a good time. So, memory's a little foggy. But tonight, hopefully we have another fun time. Yankees and the Dodgers. Max Fried taking on Tony Gonsolin. Max Fried was not part of that World Series last year, so it don't count. Fried has been so good this year. Sub 1 on the whip, 24% K rate, sub 7% barrel rate. He is facing one of the toughest teams you'll ever want to face as a left-handed pitcher in the Los Angeles Dodgers. I don't know how this is going to go. And neither does the field. So when I was looking at ownership projections, a lot of the obvious names up top, the Peterson against the Rockies, the Pivetta against the Pirates, but Max Fried fell at like under 3%. So make no mistake about it, this matchup is really, really, really bad. But is there an above 3% range of outcomes that Max Fried, who's a Cy Young candidate, is optimal tonight? I would say yeah. And then inversely, the Dodgers are also 3% owned. So the field's not taking a stand, and it feels like there's some leverage to be had on both sides. So you could come in hot at 6% Dodger stacks, 7% Fried, and still be above the field, double the field in both of those, both sides of that coin flip there. So interesting game theory opportunity going on with this one. Tony Gonsolin on the bump. He's got a 26% K rate this season, but that's about all he's got going. A 10% barrel rate, not what you want. 1.44 on the whip. Elevated home run per 9 to both sides of the plate. Striking out righties incredibly, a 42% clip. But is he long for this one? And is that sustainable? Probably not. 5, 4, 5, 5 innings. So he's been getting deep enough. So maybe I got to give him a little bit more respect in that regard. And the Yankees, kind of the same situation. We look at the Yankees ownership. They're coming up a little bit hotter, 6%. But, yeah, I don't know. I got no pushback here. I think this should just be some fun baseball. Slight favored on the Yankees. So I'm going to go Yankees. Dodgers. Max Fried. I think there's a world where Tony Gonsolin serves us at DK. So this is four corners. This is the scumdacker spot of the century. But it all makes sense. That's a lot of green. That's a lot of green. That should be fun. Both teams were off yesterday, so big reset on the bullpens. And man, this should be a slugfest. I'm excited. Unless we lose. And in which case, I hate baseball. That's our main event. All right, let's go get a couple lineups updated. And if you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, hot takes, throw them at me. Athletics lineup did come out. We got Lawrence Butler, Jacob Wilson, Brent Rooker, Tyler Soderstrom, Shea Lang. Wona Shea from a Langolier. That's stupid. CJ Alexander, Logan Davidson, Drew Avens. This is one of the guys we spotlighted yesterday. Really good minor stuff. I'm not going to forget about him just because of the first day. But Chris Bassett, pretty good. It's pretty good. Mets lineup came out. We got Frankie Lindor, Mark Vientos batting second, Soto, Alonso, Nimmo, Marte, Tyrone Taylor, Francisco Alvarez, Luis Angel Acuna. Boom. Giants lineup is out. Mike Yastrzemski, Elliot Ramos, Duncan Lee, Wilma, Chappie, Adames, Patrick Bailey, Casey Schmidt. We'll also unlock the pitcher and stack ratings here in a minute. And then refresh the bomb detector. Augustine Ramirez. What is this name? Heriberto Hernandez. I've never heard that name before. Heriberto. Did I spell it right? I did. Let's see what we're dealing with there. He's batting second off the rip. Batting 220? Excuse me? What? 319 OBP, 773 OPS, 9 homers. Against Colin Harrison is a lefty, right? All right. Against lefties, 182. Excuse me. 9 Ks and 22 at bats, 2 homers. So he seemed like the ultimate strikeout or homer guy. I'll go look at last year. .527 slug last year, 35 Ks and 93 at bats, 6 homers. Man, that is some. Okay, wait, he's a catcher too. Oh, this is a screw job. Or is he just not even in the player pool for DraftKings? Even if he was, like, you'd have to choose between him and Augustine Ramirez. Unless that's a glitch by DK. But it looks like he's in the Fanduel pool, so okay. Anyway, what was I doing? Wagaman. Eric Wagaman. Otto Lopez. This team sucks. Dude, do they have 3 catchers, or is that a glitch? That's gotta be a glitch, right? Where's he play? He's a right fielder. Okay. Labs has him listed as a catcher. I was like, you're not gonna have 3 catchers for DFS. Red Sox. This is almost changed the team right there. Devers, Abreu. Marcelo Meyer. Abraham Toro. Trevor Story. Christian Campbell. Cedar Rafaela. Angels and Guardians. We get those lineups in. Neto. Mike Trout's batting 5th. Excuse me. Shanuel. Taylor Ward. Jorge Soler. Michael Nelson. Logan O'Hoppe. Joe Adele. Scott Kingery. Was he on the Phillies? That name sounds familiar. He was. It's all up there. That's a long time ago, dude. 4 years? Where's he been? What the heck? Hey, man. Welcome back. Good luck. Stephen Kwan, Angel Martinez, Jose Ramirez. Bruh, I promise you, I couldn't tell you the contents of my fridge, but I can name the most random players playing for just. Why would my brain know that Scott Kingery played for the Phillies 5 years ago? But do I got ketchup in the fridge? I don't know. I really don't. Guys. All right, confirm liners for both Angels and the Guardians. Where else we at? Braves and Red Sox, check. Royals, check. I believe that makes us all caught up. show. With that said, we can go unlock our projections. Nick Pivetta, David Peterson, Brian Wu, Framber Valdez. All this is pretty linear with the projected ownership. Makes sense. Main stack rating. Other than the Orioles game, we don't have to do anything here, so that's fun. It was Baltimore and Chicago, right? Yeah. And it gives us the Dodgers, the D-backs, or excuse me, the Mets, D-backs, Dodgers, Braves, Cardinals, Yankees. Pretty run-of-the-mill. Bomb Detective's giving us Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh, Rafi Devers, Frankie Lindor, Pete Alonso, Gunnar Henderson. Any weird names? I guess I could take out that game that doesn't exist. What's the weirdest name in the top 10? Kyle Higashioka is probably the weirdest name. Alexander Canario is definitely a weird name. No one's playing him against Nick Pivetta. That's what we're looking at there. Stock rating. All right, cool. I guess we can launch our player projections as well. No surprise here. I do believe this means we're good, right? Double check all the weather. Yellow, orange, yeah, that game doesn't matter. Philly. Did I? Game's not here. I guess we're good. We are good. All right, Chad, I'm gonna get you out of here. I think my homies Terry should be live. He wants some more seam chatter. It's 3 o'clock. We got plenty of time before lock. Do a little straightening up and work on my portfolio lineup. So I'll be around the Discord if you need me. Tag me. Twitter.com/Gundacker. Tomorrow, this weekend schedule might get weird. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure what we're gonna do tomorrow. We'll see. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Friday. Hope you guys crush it tonight. Tell somebody you love them. I love you. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.